Hey wood turners, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. Welcome to my shop. Today we're going to make a few shavings. I don't normally do bowls, but a good friend of mine's given up turning and he's cleaning out his wood stash. And since I'm such a great person, his words not mine, he decided to share his wood stash. And one of the first pieces was rather unique. You want to see what we're going to do? All you got to do, watch. This unique looking piece is a piece of laminated beam like they have in a church or an office building or a big gym. It is very much like oriented strand board with chips and slices of wood pressed together under immense pressure, like 3-4 pounds. Squished with this real cool resin in between. Resin eats up tools, but we got a way around that. Now, when I started out with it, it was a circle cut out of a block, out of a beam, okay? So, I drilled a hole in the center, 3/8. I put my woodworm screw in my one-way chuck, and that's a good way to start it. And then I loaded it up and spun it a little bit. And then I added a glue block down here, because I don't want to take out enough of the bowl to use to put a tendon on. So I'm going to turn this off of a glue block. I put a block on, I put my dovetail in the block right here, and now I'm going to get it off the woodworm screw and load it up. That's the dovetail I was telling you about right there. Now that dovetail matches the angle of my dovetail jaws right here. I don't like the serrated jaws, the ones that give you several grooves. I've got sets of them, but I do like this because the right dimension gives me ultimate gripping power. Now, that's what I'm going to do to hold the bowl. I get my woodworm screw out, put that away. I can now repower my lathe because I unpower it when I have that locked down. Put this back up. This piece of glue block is a piece of mahogany, a piece of cherry that a friend gave me, 5/4. I cut circles out of, and I stock up on glue blocks. Now, that'll be my center. You can see it's still turning fairly true. Now, I like to start things between centers. So what I'm going to do is add this to my one-way revolving center. That is my aluminum cone. I put it in there. And I'll bring the center up. Why? Because between centers I'm much more stable than I am off of a glue block or off of a chuck or off a faceplate. Now, orientation. This is going to be the bottom of my bowl over here. This is going to be the rim of my bowl. I'm going to want to put a nice dish in here. Now, all this material back here goes away. I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to shape this up using a couple of carbide cutters. And I'm going to show you a brand new cutter. I don't have it for sale yet, but it's coming. I bought a couple of thousand because of the deal I'm going to offer you. So right now we're going to crank it up. I'm going to get you in a better position. Is that right? Is that right? I'm shielded up so you can hear it through the mask. Because I'm using that carbide, I got to be about 1/4 inch lower than my regular tool. This is just a simple carbide square. No magic to this one. It eats up a lot of wood, and you'll be getting away from the tool rest pretty quick. So always consider reposition so you don't get hanging out too much. Show you another plan of attack. Come down the side. Now, if this was a regular chisel, I'd been sharpened 3 times, and so far I hadn't even rotated the edge. Because this stuff is hard with that resin in it. You can see something. As hard and dense as this material is, that's a pretty good finish across there. I have a little tear where I really hogged into it in a couple of spots, but this is really cross-grain material and it will tear a little bit. Now I am going to now change to the R2 cutter. The R2 cutter is the same dimension as a square, except it's got softer corners and a slight 100mm radius going across the face. You'll see that it works better for when I want to smooth things out and walk back and forth. I won't get the digging on the corners and I can shape it up a little bit better. Also like to roll a little R2 up on the side a little bit and get a little scraping action out of it. Lathe speed's about 1800. See the shavings I'm getting? That's a sign of a good cut. Roll it up on the side a little bit. A little bit of a difference. Different kind of a cut. Gives me more control from my arcing. Now this is yellow pine, southern yellow. Now before I do any sanding on this, I'd wet this. I'd go ahead and spray some water on it and let the fiber stand up before I knock it down with sandpaper. And that would also help me with these corners, because they would smile up and I could reverse the speed right off the bat, hit it with some heavy paper and knock that off, because that's going to jump into fingers before it's over with. And they're my fingers. That's a close-up of the R2 cutter. And I've had guys ask me, how do I keep the cutters from moving on the bar? I put a drop of CA under them before I tighten them down. That holds them in place, and when I go to change them, I just hit it with a spark lighter, one of those long distance cigarette lighter things, and warms it up. And I've also had requests, why don't I change that to a socket cap to get it right? Well, I give you one free screw with every cutter when you buy a cutter from me. I don't charge you for the screws. Well, I really do. You do know that, right? And it's not really free. I just put one in every bag and I add it to the price. And it's only pennies, so I'm okay with it. But I use a Phillips screw so that you can get the junk out of the screw a little bit easier, and you can use your little pick thing if it's in there. if you're using a socket screw, you won't do that every time, and you'll eventually strip it out. And one of the other people charge a couple of bucks for those screws. That's what I'd have to if I use those. But you can go ahead and, just by changing the angle of attack, I can get probably the entire bottom out of this thing with a square cutter. And that's the beauty of this. You're cutting off those corners, not really off the front. Now, if this was wet wood, I could probably do a 1/2 inch straight off, 14 millimeter straight back cut with this thing and be all right. But in dry hardwood, that's a hero move. I really don't like hero moves. Hero moves are the ones that demonstrators do to say, look what I can do. Whereas if you try that at home, your wife will write me and offer to sell you tools after you passed away. I don't like hero moves. Da-da, da-da-da-da, and all that. Drum roll. There it is. That's the new cutter. Since I began this cutter business, I've been inundated with requests to start carrying a 16 or an 18 millimeter round cutter. Well, I commissioned a company to make me an 18 millimeter by 2 millimeter thick cutter geared to fit on the standard 1/2 inch bar. And that's what I have. I had to buy a whole lot. I'll put it to you this way, if you don't buy it, I have to figure a way to put gravy on them and eat them. But these cutters are identical to what some people sell for $17.95 plus freight. And in a couple of weeks, I'm going to give you an offer you can't refuse. I'm not going to sell them for half price. No, that's not going to happen. I can't do that. I'm going to be $1 less. Yeah, that's right. Same price as my 12 millimeter round cutter that fits on a 3/8 bar. This cutter will go 3 in a pack for $24. No breakups, nothing else. This is excluded from all the other specials. This is a make it or break it deal, and I will have them out there. In about 3 weeks, they'll hit my shop, and they will sell 3 for $24 instead of 1 for $17.95. Yeah, that's right. That wasn't a typo. And those folks charge you freight. I'm going to do them for $24 and not charge you freight. So how's that? And I'll come up with a deal to add a bar if you want. But first, let's find out what it does. You've seen what we've done with this so far. I'm shielding up. This is my shield. This is by Uvix. This is the Bionics by Uvix. I got the polycarb shield, the shatter resistant polycarb, and this thing sees a pretty good bit of beating. It's a really good shield. Between this and my trend, I'm happy as can be. I'm going to reset, move some tools around, some bars around. I want to see that we're going to be running a little bit above center right there, so I'm dropping this just a little bitty bit. How do I know I'm above center? Okay. Let's just do this. Alright? You can see where the center is in there, and that's where I'm going to fall. You can't, man, you need glasses. I'm not kidding. Come on. Now, do you see what I'm talking about? That's flat on the tool rest, and I'm coming right across at the center. Why didn't I draw a smaller center? Because you need glasses! Okay. Back it out a little bit. I did one pass. We're going to do this in real time. No camera moves or nothing. This ain't the news, okay? Yeah, let's do this. That is nice. Round it, no flat spots, one easy move, and it cleans it up. This is going to be a heck of a cutter. I'm going to get you back in a better position to go back to work. Don't move. I really mean it. Did that to show you that it roughs in just as well, because I have to still take about a 1/4 inch out of that bottom. Whew, you gotta love that. Roughing in and doing the fine cuts with one tool. Really love it. Now I'm gonna take this piece of beam, spray it with a little bit of water, let it rise a little bit. 50 years ago when I started in a cabinet shop, this guy that worked there said, after I sanded a tabletop that I thought was absolutely gorgeous, he said, take that rag out that bucket and wash it off. I looked at him like he was crazy. He said, no, you only have the 220. We finish everything to 400, but between 200 and 400, we wipe it down with some water, let that grain rise, and then we only sand with the grain to make it beautiful. And that's when I learned chatoyance, or cat's eye. And that piece of cherry exploded after we sanded it down after that. It was gorgeous. And here in my second day in my cabinet shop, and he taught me a lesson that stuck with me a long time. Really long time. Okay, now, you have all that. Watch for the announcement when this tool is available. I will not take pre-orders. Oh, I got thousands coming. And I will not put them on my website until I have them in my hands. But if you're interested and you want me to contact you when they come in, send me an email right here. Say, hey Cap, let me know when those rounds come in, because I want one. No, I'm sorry, you got to say I want 3, because they're going to be in packs of 3 for $24, including shipping. Go look that up in your Funkin' Wagnalls. I'm beating the other guy with a stick. Whew. Well, that's it. I'm going to go back to making shavings. And with this stuff, that's all you get. Shavings. Take care now.